Welcome to the Mentor Podcast, where the most highly motivated entrepreneurs come to get their weekly dose of financial stability with host Ron LeGrand, as well as other nationally recognized thought leaders who will teach you how to get, grow, and protect your wealth.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another issue of the Mentor Podcast. Ron LeGrand here. Our mission is to help you make more money, keep more of it, and retire rich and get through these trying times and come out better on the other side than you came in. And man, do I have the right guest for that today. His name is Bob Diamond, and I think he's got the perfect home-based business for you, and I think you'll agree after you hear what he's got to say. So he is an attorney, but don't hold that against him. How you doing, Bob?
Doing well, Ron. Thank you.
Okay. We're all going to get through this thing. We just don't know when. So I thought it would be a good idea to interview you today on your business that so many folks are doing, and that we're getting so many raised reviews on it, and then we can let our listeners decide whether they have interest or not. But man, I think it's just perfect for our times because you don't leave your house to do it, which is exactly what we need right now, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, you're not even allowed to leave your house in most places. So yeah, it's perfect. You know, everything's done by phone and mail, so it's perfect.
Yeah. So I don't know anybody knows more about you than you. So why don't you tell everybody who you are and why you're here? And
Sure. So I'll just puff myself right up because it's such an important person I am. So I'm an attorney. I've been an attorney since 1995, so I've been doing that for a while. I'm also a real estate investor. I've been investing since 1989, so I've built up a nice portfolio of rental properties and done plenty of fix and flips and things like that along the way, and really enjoy it and think it's a great business. And I stumbled into this business that I'm doing now back in 2011. And it was, of course, after the crisis. We'd had the big crisis starting 2008, 2009. And so, fix and flip wasn't really the thing to do back then. So I was learning some other things I could do. And I hit this one, and it was like, bingo, this was it. And it's funny because that has come back around again when we're having all kinds of trials and tribulations. I would fully expect we have a price correction or outright recession in real estate for a little bit. And it's funny, this thing I've been doing since 2011 turns out to be perfect for people to do right now. And I don't know, how much detail do you want me to go into? You want me to go into like exactly what it is?
Yeah, exactly what is it? How do we make money? That's it. I mean, we're not going to sell it here, but we're going to give everybody a link to get some free stuff. And if they want it, they can get the information on the link. So,
perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me give everybody out there, I'll give you the rundown. And my purpose here, let me give you a fair rundown on it so is this something worth investigating, worth doing? And I'll say up front, I think that it is. We're doing great with this. And, I was talking to one of my students this morning, and you don't want to gloat at a time like this, and I'm certainly not. But just as an observation, this is the best business and the perfect business to be doing under our current conditions. And let me explain why. The business that we do is called overages. And what that means, it's money that's left over when a property is sold at tax foreclosure sale, or for that matter, mortgage foreclosure sale. And there's this kind of little known fact, and of course Ron would know it because Ron's been around real estate forever and is extremely sophisticated. And one of the things I will tell everybody on this call is that Ron is the guy. Like, you're really smart to be following Ron, to be listening to Ron, because Ron has been through the ups and downs of real estate. And I'm sure, Ron, at least 3 times. You were around probably in the RTC crisis in the early 90s.
5, actually, if anybody's counting.
So were you around for the 86 tax correction?
Indeed.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. So everybody, I even double down on that. Ron is the right guy because he's been through the 1986 Tax Reconciliation Act, which ruined commercial real estate for a while. He navigated through that. He went through the 91 RTC crisis.
Yep.
Ron navigated through that. There's probably one I'm forgetting about, but we had the 2009 meltdown. And I guess 87 might have been. 87 was a stock meltdown. I'm not sure about real estate.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you're really smart to be listening to Ron because he's seen this show before and knows how it ends and knows how to navigate it through it safely. Now, with that being said, so what I do is I reach out to people that have lost their homes at foreclosure sales, and we're mostly focused on tax foreclosures, but you can use this on mortgage foreclosures as well. And we let them know that they're owed some money, because often people are owed substantial amounts of money. And for a percentage of that money, we'll go recover the money, no charge to them. If and when we're successful, we get a success fee. If we're not successful, it doesn't cost them a dime. So it's a really nice offer. And the reason I think it's so good for today is, first of all, we have an inventory of leads built up. And these leads are, like I said, the money that is left over from foreclosure sales stays around for several years. Kind of an average is 3 years. It varies by state. For everybody gets involved, I'll give you our research that shows you how long it is in each state. But just for the purpose of talking about it today, the money sits around for 3 years. So we're sitting here literally today, as we speak, with hundreds of thousands of leads sitting out there of people owed $20, $30, $40, $50,000 and more. And to give you a fair grip on this, because that's probably the best thing I could do for you. A normal lead is like a $20,000 to $30,000 lead is kind of average, dime a dozen. And there are ones that are bigger than that, lots of them. But it's like your everyday lead is a $20,000 to $30,000 lead. And what you charge for helping to get that money is 30 to 40%, just like attorneys do for contingent fee work, just like collection companies do for collecting money. So let's just take the bottom number that if you had 30% of a $30,000 lead, that's $9,000 in your pocket when you successfully claim that money. And it typically takes 8, maybe 10 hours maximum of your time to get the money. And that's done by mail. You put in applications of the government agencies holding the money. You call them up, you talk to them, and they produce a check. Not a hard process at all, but one that you'll know how to do because I'll show you how to do it, and that they don't know how to do.
Hold on a minute. Catch your breath before you stroke out on me. When you say what happens is there's a foreclosure sale, and the bank opens the bid up with what they got to have sometimes. And once they get that bid, most people think the bank actually gets the rest of the money, but they don't. So what you're talking about is everything that's bid above what the bank has to have, what they're owed, in other words, if that's the case, right?
Yes, and there are two different kinds. So yes, in the case of a mortgage foreclosure, the bank, and in the case of a tax foreclosure, whatever the tax bill is.
Well, hold on a minute. Let me give you a real live example of that one I had right here. I bought a piece of land at a tax deed sale last year for about $60,000. I'm sorry, they owed about $60,000 worth of taxes. My goodness, in Florida, you got third year, you got plenty of time to pay them, but they didn't. So they let it go to the tax deed sale. Now, I paid $215,000 for that piece of land. And did you know those people did not even know that they were entitled to the difference between the $215 and the $60?
Isn't that sad?
And here's what's sadder. It is not the responsibility of the city to tell them. I was shocked. Frankly,
it's
we
shocking
told them.
And sad.
Yeah.
And we think about where we are today, where everybody's nervous about making money. People are being forced to stay home, forced to not work, and that makes them more nervous than ever. And when you call them and say, "Hey, I've got great news for you," there's, 215 minus 60 is what, roundabout 165.
Yeah.
So
I should have done it your way. I could have got 30%.
Yes.
I didn't get anything.
Let's call for round figures $160,000.
Yeah.
This poor soul that lost their house at a tax sale. If you call them up and say, "Hey, I could get you, net of my costs about $120,000." Say you took $40,000 and they kept the balance. Surprised and excited they're going to be, especially today when people are more worried than ever about money.
Yep.
They're going to be hugging you and kissing you.
Right. And how can they refuse? And, you're not asking them for deposit or money or anything. They got nothing to lose. So it's not a hard sale, is it?
It's an easy sale. And I would say today even more than ever, because always, and, Ron, everybody always wonders, well, what's the catch? What's hard? So here's the hard part about this business. The hard part is just working through the natural skepticism that people have. But right now, because of the conditions we're in, where everybody's worried about money and needs it so badly, they'll overlook their skepticism, because when you say, "I'm here with substantial money for you, and I don't charge you anything up front, we'll only get paid if we recover money, we'll get a portion of it," they're going to be much more open, and they're going to be saying yes much more easily. Not that it's hard to begin with. It's not hard. You normally just have to be nice to them and talk to them a few times. But today, they're going to be anxious. It's like if you wanted to catch a stray dog and you tried to say, "Chase the dog around and catch it." The dog, you'd never catch it. They're way too fast. But if you said, I have a little piece of steak here, and just put a piece of steak in your hand, it's easy to catch that dog, because the dog will come walking right up to you. You can clip a leash on it and walk away with the dog, and the dog's fine. And right now, people are hungry for money, just like that stray dog, and they feel like they're out on the streets.
Yeah.
And it's, easy.
Yeah. It's not that they're not always hungry for money. It's just a little bit more.
No, but now it's even more so. Now they're like starving for money.
Yeah.
And they're stressed. So yes, I agree with you. Everybody always wants money, and that's why the business always works. But today, I think the conditions are even better for it. That's all. And
like I said,
I'm not gloating over that. I just, I don't want anybody to think that. I'm not gloating or celebrating. It's an observation, and it's just, what we have to do right now as a group, as a real estate investor group, and you guys as followers of Ron LeGrand, you can figure, what are we going to do right now that's going to work, that's going to keep me solvent, keep my family, in housing and with money coming in, and this is it. It's perfect for these conditions.
So, Bob, the process is you get the list, and then you write them or call them or both.
We generally just pick up the phone and call them, but you can write if you want to send them a letter or send them an email or something. You can do that, and it works.
Mm-hmm.
It's more direct. Yeah, it's more direct just to pick up the phone and call them. But if you're terrified to talk to a human, then you could send out
you're
a letter. And,
you're reading your simple script when you call them, aren't you? I mean, not that big a deal. Besides, you can get somebody to do that for $10 an hour if you don't want to do it yourself. So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give everybody a hint. I bet this is not even in your course. And there's no charge for putting it in.
I got my notes. I'm taking notes.
Okay.
Just when you speak, I listen. So what do you got?
You pick up the telephone and you call them. Obviously, there's probably half of them will not answer the telephone no matter how many times you call them. So text them. Text them with a short text. I'm trying to reach you because there's money in the courthouse records that belongs to you, and it's my job to find you and give you the details. Please call me. Something like
perfect.
That. I just made that up. Okay.
Yeah, you know what else you could do with that also, Ron? It's perfect. And one thing you could also do is you could put, there's a refund, at the courthouse waiting for you. If you work the word refund in there, it's a good one, but your message would work great. Your sense is dead on, which of course, because you've been doing this a long time, dealing with humans successfully a long time.
My point is text them, because literally nowadays when we do live deals in class, about half the deals we do are from the people who call back on the text.
Yes, I agree with you, Ron. I think that is a good plus. We'll add that in because you're right. And today, a lot of people prefer to be text for the initial conversation.
Texting world, better believe it.
Yep. I know if someone sends me something simple like a phone number, I'd just assume they text it because I have it in writing.
So you just call them, you contact them, however, and then you just send them a simple agreement, and then you start working.
A simple 3-page. Simple, sign at the kitchen table agreement. That gives you permission and direction to go get the money for them, and you go get the money. And it's of the different kind of deals you could do, it's among the simplest because we're not doing things that honestly, Ron, are more sophisticated. Like if you've got to rebuild a house from the foundation up, it's a sophisticated project. You got a lot to do.
Yeah.
This is just applying for money from the government, which is sometimes, but not hard.
I'm just thinking, it really don't make any difference where you're at and where they're at, does it?
This is correct. It doesn't.
My God, Bob, thousands of these things. How do you even know where to go? How do you even know where to start?
Where people like to start is in your home state. And the reason people like to start in their home state is because they're more familiar with it, and they feel like, if I'm from, I was speaking to someone this morning, one of my students from Forsyth County, Georgia. Mm-hmm. I said, so you're going to be doing the business in Georgia? She's like, yeah. I'm like, of course, because then you can say to someone, hey, I live in, Forsyth City.
Appears to me you could actually make a real business out of this.
I have a whole, it's, and you know what else, Ron, and this, just to be honest, this is a really rewarding business. So the other day, I was getting these copies of people's checks and all, and normally it's just like an entrepreneur that has a check, and it makes me really happy. I see one of my students making $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, whatever. But on Friday, I get this email with a picture, and I'll just paint this picture for a second. So this is a woman who looks like she's in her 90s, and she's very ancient. And she's in a brown pickup truck parked in front of a Walmart, has a Walmart sign, so I could see it. She's in a Walmart parking lot, and she's all dolled up. She's got her best dress on. She's got her jewelry on. She's obviously combed out her hair, and she's all dressed up. She's got this big smile, and she's holding a check